I'm Ann Croker and I'm building book-ready writers. In this episode, we're talking about the struggle of finding time to write. It comes up in nearly every conversation I have with writers, whether in a group setting or even one-to-one with a client. I don't have time to write. If you have that longing to write really thoughtful, focused prose, but you're running up against your own scrunched schedule, yeah, welcome to the club. It seems to be the universal issue that writers face. If you manage to find any time at all, it can feel like just a crack or a crevice of time. And it's really hard to focus when that's all you have to work with. And the worst is if you think you don't have enough time to write and you end up writing nothing at all. If you want to write, you need to value yourself and the project enough to find a solution. Your writing is worth the effort of figuring this out, and you, yourself, are worth it. Do you believe that? Some people live as if their writing isn't worth it, just kind of letting time slip away without being aware of where it's going. Honor the work and yourself by figuring out where this time goes. And you're going to discover it when you start to log your activities. When you track your time, you're going to know exactly what's happening hour by hour, what you're doing, where your time is going. And then you'll have enough information to make a plan for your writing. For 1 week, log your time like a freelance writer would or a lawyer and treat it as billable hours. Annie Dillard reminds us how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. We owe it to ourselves then to figure out where our time goes so we can figure out how we are spending our lives. Here are a few suggestions, really practical, on how you can track your time. The first is to use a dedicated time tracker tool like Clockify or Toggle. These are apps or programs where you can click the start time, type in what you're working on, and then when you're done, you click stop and it will track that time for you. An analog version would be to pull out a piece of paper or a notebook, write down the start time, write down the task, and then write down the time when you completed that task. And you will have a documentation of what you did that day, hour by hour, minute by minute. Increasing your awareness of what's happening in your life in 30-minute or hour increments is really worth noting and noticing. And it may reveal some windows for writing. And that's how you can start to prioritize your writing, by seeing where you can slip it in around the things that are happening in your life. Another similar approach is called interstitial journaling. And the idea here is that you write down your start time and what you're working on, but then a little more information when you round it out and you finish it up. You write that stop time and then you reflect just for a sentence or two about how that went, how you felt about it. For example, if you had an hour where you were doing nothing but looking at emails and replying to those, you might write, why am I spending so much of my life answering and writing emails? With this approach, you'll gain valuable insights not only to what is happening, but also why it's happening and how you're feeling about it. Another way to track your time is to use a calendar, whatever calendar you're already using, analog or digital. I use a digital calendar. I like to add activities and tasks to my calendar and work it around my set appointments or coaching calls. So I'll set a block, let's say, for writing. And once I set that block, I make a guess as to how long I think it'll take and how it will fit around the other things in my day. And then if it took me a little less time than I thought it would, I shrink that block down to what it actually was. Now I have a color-coded documentation of what my actual day consisted of. It's been so helpful for me to see where my days are really going and how I'm spending my life. I hope you try at least one of these ideas for 1 week to get a clear picture of where your time is going and where you might see some opportunities to actually write. It might even help you see things that you're doing that are keeping you from writing that you could delete altogether from your life. You could delay and do another day or another time, or you might even be able to delegate it to somebody. So look for where you can write and block that time off. It is sacred and your writing matters. I love supporting writers in their creative process and helping them become book ready. If you want to learn more about what I offer writers, head over to anncroker.com and learn more. Thank you for being here.